Yes, artificial intelligence will impact your career and change your life. It will redefine every aspect of your reality. From daily routines to social dynamics, AI will rewrite the unwritten rules that govern how we interact, communicate, and even think about what's possible in society. In my writing, these invisible rules are called social constructs, and you need to understand them well if you hope to navigate the next 2 decades with clarity, adaptability, and purpose. Social constructs are also known as social norms, societal frameworks, or shared beliefs. So, what are social constructs and why are they so important? Hi, I'm Michael Allen Prestwood, and this is Social Constructs 101, The Unseen Forces Defining Reality. This video is based on content from my book 30 Philosophers, which tells the story of modern human thought over the last 5,000 years. The story of human ideas is largely about the story of social constructs, the very fabric of our existence. They're the invisible threads that weave the fabric of human society. They're shared beliefs and agreements like banks, labor roles, and even concepts like calendars. They are why we have such varied cultures, why we have so many languages, types of foods, and variety of religions. Just think of all the various styles of clothing, architecture, and music. All these social constructs give structure to our world and help us navigate its complexities. And our social constructs are always evolving, and they are on the brink of a massive shift. While at times they seem solid, they can and do change all the time. Chapter 10 of 30 Philosophers covers skepticism, doubt, the idea of questioning your beliefs. As part of that journey, it defines social constructs. A social construct is a shared non-natural belief, created and maintained by groups, and they shape reality. They are cultural blueprints that encompass a shared idea, a framework. To illustrate, the French philosopher Rousseau famously said, "The first person who, having fenced off a plot of land, thought of saying, 'This is mine,' and found people simple enough to believe him was the real founder of civil society." His thought illustrates how the concept of private property originated from a human-made idea that was accepted and reinforced by society. The arbitrary idea of owning land and possessions established value. The ideas of ownership and value became pillars of civil society, demonstrating the power of shared beliefs. Here's your key takeaway. Social constructs do not exist in nature. They are completely human-made frameworks created to bring order and meaning to our world. Take the calendar, for example. It divides time into months and years, yet concepts like January or the year 2023 are purely constructs we've agreed upon. They don't exist in nature, they exist only because we decided they should. To fully grasp social constructs, let's take a closer look at one of the most fundamental ones, time. Time is fascinating because it's a concept we take for granted, yet our perception of it is entirely constructed. Things like hours, minutes, and seconds don't really exist in nature. Our experience of the passing of time is us, living in the now, our senses feeding experiences to our mind, things like vision, hearing, and touch. Our mind's perception of these senses is it interpreting our now based on memories of the past. That's how we conjure up thoughts of the future. When we experience the passing of time, we are remembering the past, living in the now, and anticipating the future. It feels like a ticking metronome, like one second follows the next, consistently with no exceptions. We tend to think of time as a consistent ticking universal metronome, but it's not. What we experience as time is actually just the tracking of events, like the sun rising and setting, or the pattern of seasons as the Earth orbits the sun. Our sense of the passing of an hour has no tangible existence outside of our own minds. Time, as commonly understood, doesn't exist in a consistent, absolute way. For example, our modern calendar, which divides time into years, months, and days, is just one of many ways humans have tried to make sense of the passage of time. The concept of time may seem rigid, but it's actually quite flexible depending on the culture, era, or even the technology of the day. Take the Gregorian calendar we use today. It's easy to forget that the calendar wasn't always this standardized. For example, did you know it doesn't have a year zero? This is because it was adopted from the Julian calendar, which was invented in 45 BCE. Back in the days of Julius Caesar and Jesus Christ, the concept of zero, the social construct, hadn't been established yet. People understood the idea of nothing, but the social construct of the number zero didn't exist in mathematics or chronology. The social construct of zero as a number originated in India in the 5th century CE and spread to Europe through translations of Arabic mathematical texts in the 12th century. Even now, with the exception of specialized systems like astronomical year numbering, calendars still lack a year zero. Also, before the adoption of the modern 24-hour standardized time, our social constructs around time were closer to nature. An hour wasn't always the same duration. In the past, they divided time into segments like morning, noon, and evening. The length of each hour varied depending on the season. Summer hours were longer than winter hours. People might say something like, "Let's meet at the second hour." That actually means divide daylight into 12 hours. The first 6 were from first light to high noon. The second 6 were high noon until dark. These are concepts typically foreign to our modern minds. Even the way societies counted years varied widely. The Romans counted years from the founding of Rome, while Chinese dynasties marked time according to the reigning emperor. The Jewish calendar places the Western calendar year 2024 in the year 5784, while in many Asian cultures the year is calculated from the start of the Lunar New Year, making it a different type of number altogether. As societies progressed, the need for a standardized system of time grew, leading to more structured calendars and clocks. But the nature of time remained elusive. Time as we perceive it is not absolute, it's relative, as Einstein demonstrated with his theory of relativity. In reality, time changes depending on the observer's speed and gravity. The time that ticks on a clock is a very different phenomenon from the one that operates on a cosmic scale. Ultimately, time is just one of many examples of how we've built social constructs to understand and navigate our world. The way we mark time, days, weeks, years, might feel permanent, but it's anything but. It's a human-made framework that has changed countless times throughout history. And with AI and new technology, it's bound to change again. To frame social constructs, let's briefly add nature to the conversation. Our direct observations of nature, such as measuring gravity or documenting species, are empirical ideas. While the labels for these are agreed upon social constructs, the things they represent are not social constructs. Our labels and descriptions of the material world are grounded in what we can measure and observe. They are empirical. In contrast, social constructs are indirect, rational, and sometimes irrational ideas about nature, often layered with cultural, historical, and societal interpretations. They represent how we organize, categorize, and give meaning to elements of reality, but are not a part of nature itself. While there are countless social constructs shaping our world, let's conclude with just 4 clear examples. 1. Human race. A categorization based on physical traits, ancestry, or genetics with societal implications and stereotypes. While we can observe human variations, the stereotypes of race are a human-made construct with no basis in biological reality. 2. Social class. A division of society based on economic status, occupation, education, and lifestyle. It creates a hierarchy that isn't inherent to human nature. Classes are simply agreed upon economic and social structures. 3. Marriage. A formal or legally recognized union between individuals, shaped by cultural, religious, or legal definitions and responsibilities. The concept varies greatly across societies and time periods, reflecting the mutable nature of social constructs. And finally, 4. Nation-states. Political entities defined by geographical boundaries, governance systems, and shared identities. These constructs are recognized through collective consensus and can shift over time due to social, political, or cultural changes. In essence, social constructs aren't descriptions of nature, but frameworks we've built to navigate and make sense of our experiences in it. They are part of the fabric of human understanding, yet they remain separate from the empirical world they interpret. I am Michael Allen Prestwood, author of 30 Philosophers. Just reminding you that our social constructs are agreements that do not exist in nature and are constantly evolving. It is up to all of us to decide which we keep, which we add, and how they evolve. Thanks for watching. Please like this video. If you are new here, please subscribe and join our community of thinkers at touchstonetruth.com.